Welcome to Sarder TV, an idea sharing platform founded by Russell Sarder, who's an author, investor, and the CEO of Netcom Learning and AI Certs. We have Joan O'Neil with us today. Joan is the Chief Knowledge Officer at the International Code Council, and she's here to tell us more about how the organization is using AI and her role as the leader of the digital solutions team at ICC. Well, Joan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here. Great to be back.
So start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background and your career and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Well, I live in New York City, and I've spent most of my professional career here in New York City. It's a great city. I live in Midtown Manhattan, and I've been in the learning, publishing, ed tech space, information technology for most of my career. For the last 10 years or so, probably, I've been very focused on digital transformation, really embracing digital transformation, especially in the world of content and services and products. Everything's changing every day. And I know today we're going to talk a lot about AI and other evolving technologies, but that's something that I've really embraced. So for the last 5 years, I've been the Chief Knowledge Officer at the International Code Council. And we are the leading source for model and standard codes and building safety solutions. And I was really hired to lead the digital enterprise through the transformation and, really building up our infrastructure, our knowledge infrastructure, bringing our content online, delivering it online 24/7. And so that's been an exciting opportunity. And I'm happy to say, I will celebrate my 5-year anniversary in February, and we have many, many robust digital products and services available for our customers and our members. Prior to that, I was at a company called Skillsoft. Skillsoft is one of the leading corporate training organizations, again, all online. So you can see the theme here in terms of, for myself, in terms of bracing learning and content online. And so at Skillsoft, I led the digital Skillsoft Books program. Reaching 45 million learners through a very robust digital learning platform. And then prior to that, and again, for most of my career, I had several executive leadership positions at Wiley, John Wiley and Sons, which is a leading publisher and a learning organization. Most recently there, I was executive vice president for our knowledge and learning business, which was everything from professional books, courseware, learning platforms, and so forth. And the last time the first time I spoke with Sarder TV, it was in that role as EVP, again, leading a robust digital transformation at Wiley. And again, since I've left, they've continued on that journey.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us a little bit more about the International Code Council as an organization and what its purpose is.
Sure. So our mission, we are a member-based organization. So we have over 65,000 members globally. We are in over 40 countries, and we are spread out throughout the organization. We lead the development of the codes, the model codes. So there are 15 model codes that are updated on a 3-year cycle. Everything from the International Building Code to the International Residential Code, the Plumbing Code, Mechanical Fuel Gas Code, Fire Code. And so for any commercial or residential building built in the United States, in all 50 states, these model codes are the leading source for professional designers, for engineers, for jurisdictions, and so forth. So what's interesting about the International Code Council is we lead the development through a governmental voting process of the code changes, but then oftentimes state governments will amend those codes before they adopt them. So a particular state may adopt a code in its original format that the ICC has produced, or it may amend that particular code, and we work with them in both instances. So if you think about it, there's 15 model codes, there's 50 states, you can see the amount of activity. And then from there, we actually also amend local codes. So we will work with various jurisdictions, both small, medium, and large, in amending those codes as well. And we have three operating units. I'm in the content and services business. And that is, again, where a lot of the code content is created and distributed. And again, a big theme, and one of the reasons I was hired is to build out that digital infrastructure, both from a content creation perspective, but also from a digital delivery perspective. Mm-hmm. We have a group called Conformity Assessment, and that is certifying and evaluating products and assemblies that are in the building safety community. So a building needs furniture, a building, everything associated with a building, as you can imagine, has to has to conform to those standards, those model codes and standards. And as part of that, we also have labs where we do testing of products, again, to certify that they are code compliant. So code compliance is a big part of the Code Council. And the third is our membership and our certification business, where we actually are a certifying body. So if you are a fire marshal and a building inspector, you need a particular certification to be accredited. And again, we are ANSI accredited in order to provide those certifications and those exams for those certifications. So when you look at all of this, we have quite a bit content and services and solutions that we are producing. And a big part of my job is to, again, bring that digitally across the organization, create best practices in terms of, again, how we create that content, how we distribute that content and those services associated with that content.
Mm-hmm. So, and you mentioned, right, we've interviewed you in the past, and we did want to bring you on again, talk specifically about AI and its impacts on different industries. Yeah. When it comes to ICC, how is AI impacting the organization, whether it's the way you work, the way you handle your customers? What are some of the big impacts that you're seeing?
Yeah, well, again, I'm happy to say that the International Code Council, if you think about what goes on in the building industry, in terms of embracing new technologies, right? That is very important for us as an organization to really embrace organizations. So from the top down, we really are an organization that wants to know what's new. It was interesting. I was hired in February of 2020. And if you think back, which is, again, almost 5 years now, the collaboration tools that are now available to us. Today we're doing this particular interview using Microsoft Teams. You think about WebEx, you think about Zoom, you just think about all these collaboration tools that we use now every day. If you go back to 2020, when I was hired, many companies were just rolling these out, including ICC. So I think it was the very month that I started, ICC had just adopted Microsoft Teams, was rolling out across the organization. And it really made our jobs a lot easier. And what I got from my first few days and really first 90 days at the ICC is how much we embraced the technology solutions to improve performance. And so fast forward to today with AI, we were very early on, as soon as ChatGPT was really available in its, I think it was around January of 2023. We were very early on in terms of understanding, in terms of what its capabilities were, investigating and exploring the opportunity. And we felt that the large language model, LLM is what it's referred to, was actually a really good tool for us because if you can think about it, our regulatory content is very technical, right? When you're talking about codes and standards, it's very technical. These codes are updated every 3 years. They're amended, as I mentioned, at the state level. So trying to, understand and search for the relevant content that you need can be very cumbersome. And so a tool like, ChatGPT and just Gen AI, which is what it's referred to, just in general could simplify and really be a powerful tool. So we put a team together, a Skunksworks team together on this. Everybody has very busy jobs and many things to do in their given day. So we felt it was important to put us as kind of a special team on this. And between really when we launched it February of 23 to October of 23 was when we first came out with a product called the ICC AI Navigator. and that is a large language model application. What we did is we trained it for that during that time on our content. So when we launched in October with our MVP, it was really a beta that we went to market with. It was fully functional. It was fully functional on our 15 model codes. And, without getting into all the technical detail, what it basically would do is if you asked it a question, the response we felt based on the training that we did would give you a more accurate answer than if you were just to use, general, AI tools like ChatGPT in the marketplace. And so we did a real comparison. We have a bit of an advantage in that the training that we did, we have technical experts. So we have a whole organization of engineers and architects and so forth. And so it allowed us to, again, in this kind of skunkworks grouping, really have dedicated resources to training the tool to answer those questions at a more accurate level. To date, fast forward to today, we have answered about 30,000 plus questions. We're getting about a 65% approval, thumbs up, thumbs down, and that's increasing every day. And our accuracy, we believe, is in the 90 percentile, 85 to 90%. And again, we continue to improve that. So we are embracing it on many levels. I use that as an example because it's a customer-facing tool. We wanted to lead with a customer-facing tool because we felt that the tool could really solve some of the pain points for our clients, which is around speed, accuracy, trying to understand large quantity of information, technical information. And so, again, the response has been very positive.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. So are you seeing that? What are some of the main reasons that you're seeing your customers or your members actually use the tool? Is it really just to decipher what the regulation means? Like, what are some examples of how your members or your clients are using this ChatGPT tool, the internal one?
Sure. So I would say probably the first is curiosity, right? Everybody's been reading about AI. I think there's a nervousness around it. There's a much discussion around, will this replace humans in terms of skilled workers and so forth. And so I think there's just a natural curiosity. What is this tool? And I'm a big believer actually in trying the tool yourself. Whether it's ChatGPT or Google Gemini or there's many other, Microsoft Copilot, get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with the technology. It functions different than Google in terms of how you ask the question. The smarter you ask the question, the smarter the answer is going to be. So I think, generally speaking, we had just a general curiosity. The fact that ICC is an authoritative, source for many of our customers, it was a natural for them to, come to us and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are you doing? What do you have in the marketplace? And that's why we wanted to take the lead, frankly, in the industry and have a commercial tool in the marketplace that we felt had a higher percentage of accuracy in terms of answering questions. And so that was one. The other piece is just code compliance in general is it's a very technical, right? It's a very technical aspect of building safety. And so if you are a jurisdiction and you have thousands of permits coming into your organization on a daily basis, if you can understand and review those permits at a faster pace, you'll be able to, overall support the community in a better way. You can drive more economic growth. It just accelerates, the whole timeline. And so, plan reviews, again, code compliance, inspection letters, ChatGPT tools or just AI in general, and I would say our AI Navigator really allows the user to understand the content at a faster pace. And so instead of, if you think about it, and we still have many of our customers that still want books, right? They still want their paperback or their hardcover book, their reference tool. They may want a PDF. We have a digital platform called Digital Codes. Our Digital Codes is a think of it as a database of content. a searchable content. So we have 3,000 pieces of content in this platform. And by applying an AI tool like we did, it just allows you to find your answer much faster. So, so one, curiosity; two, speed; three, accuracy; and refinement. I think the refinement of the answer, getting to that, solving that pain point in a faster way is really the value proposition that I believe generative AI tools, deliver.
So what kind of skills do you think are required in this area to help people navigate and, effectively get the answers they want out of this tool?
Yeah. So the AI tools provide, this tool and other tools provide, think of it as a foundation, right? It's a foundation for you to do your job. And so that question of, will this replace the human interaction? Will this replace the work that, like, for instance, many of our technical experts are doing? The answer is really no. What it does, though, is it's a tool that can, again, speed up the process. And so, if you have a tool that you feel is going to give you an authoritative answer, but may not give you the full answer, right? Because you still have to do the due diligence and ensure the quality of that answer. But if it can get you, 60% of the way there, and then the rest of the time is spent refining it or enhancing that question, that's a powerful application. So I think, I mentioned about the smarter, you ask the question, the smarter the question will be answered. Learning how, and that's why I'm a big believer in, experimenting with the tool, using the tool, in your daily life, because the more familiar you become with the generative AI tools, the better you will be at asking the question. Oftentimes, and we see the behavior because we can observe it, and we'll see how, maybe the first time an engineer or an architect designer asks a question, or maybe it's a building official at a particular jurisdiction, the first time they do it to maybe the 10th time or the 20th time, and they get more familiar, they just get better at it. It's a more direct question. You can't, with Google, you can often put in phrases, right? And you get 5 different answers. With these tools, you have to be very specific what you're looking for and what answer you're really getting to. So the speed and the accuracy really depends on how the question is submitted.
Yeah. And you said you offer certifications and training to your customers as well.
Yes.
Is AI going to be a component of any of the certifications or training that you offer? Or do you see a need for a specialized AI training or certification as part of, the codes?
Yeah, so we so right now I mentioned the AI Navigator is our primary use of AI, but then we also are using it internally. We've Copilot because we have, we're a Microsoft shop, and we have other chat bots and things that we're rolling out. We actually are forming kind of an AI enterprise governance committee within the organization. And you had mentioned about, what kind of training do you need, or, how skilled do you need to be? We believe you do need to be skilled in order, it's like anything. We always say garbage in, garbage out, right? Just in our, in terms of anything you're working on. And so we believe that the higher skill base we have in the organization of people understanding, our staff understanding how to use AI, therefore we will get a better result. So specifically on learning, there's absolutely going to be applications around using AI, whether it be in training courses in terms of creating the content, possibly in the learning itself, the exam questions. We have not rolled out anything yet commercially. We are certainly in discussion, and many things are in beta testing and so forth. But most likely, AI will touch every aspect of the organization. But we want to be smart about it. And candidly, we have to be smart about it, because when we roll something out, think about it, we're about building safety. That's our mission. And so we have to have the utmost quality, the authoritative source. And so when it comes to any type of learning or certification where we apply AI, we have to do it the right way, and we have to spend the quality time on that. My assumption, though, is many of our candidates are already using AI. There's no doubt that they'd be using AI tools. And certainly in many cases, we'll be using our AI Navigator tool in terms of training and testing.
Mm-hmm. And, AI is obviously used for a variety of purposes, predictive analytics and optimizing inventory management, supply chains. Now, you had mentioned, internally, you're also using AI.
Yeah.
Can you share some examples of how internally within the organization how AI might be used, and which departments do you see it being used most by?
Yeah. Well, I would say right now it's some of the back end office, right? Some of the back end functions, like I mentioned, some chat bots. In terms of, we have an organization that is, answering questions, right? In terms of around the code. So as part of our member benefit, you can ask our technical experts particular questions. So oftentimes those skilled, trained staff, while they have all the technical knowledge and they have a database of content that they can search from, applying AI can just be a much faster result, right? In terms of, again, laying that foundation. It doesn't get you all the way there, but it can just speed up the process. So that's to me probably the number one use case. I do believe that there will be more of, within the next 12 months, especially with our new enterprise organization, we've got something called an AI knowledge map that we've put together, and we've kind of put it in 4 quadrants: customer facing, back end, as you talked about, supply chain and so forth. And we're building out those capabilities now. And so that's very exciting.
Yeah. And how do you think AI could provide solutions to challenges the International Code Council faces in managing the vast amount of regulatory and compliance data?
Yes, no, that's a great question, and I actually have an example on that I could speak to. So we have a pilot that we are partnering with an organization called Arkistar. Arkistar is a software provider. They're actually based in Sydney, Australia. And we have a pilot we're running with them in 10 cities, 10 jurisdictions. And it's a code, think of it as like a code compliance e-check tool that is AI based. And so it's intended to be the use case is really intended to be that as designers, professional architects and so forth are designing, that they are also utilizing this tool for checking the code compliant against our building code. So that's kind of the use case that we are starting with. We launched this in the summer, and we're about 4 or 5 months in at our conference next week. So we have a conference in Long Beach, California. It's our annual business review meeting, and then our hearings is actually it's later this month, and we're going to be talking about some of the results. So we've actually ingested some plan reviews into the tool. We've ingested our code content through an API into the tool, and the software platform does its magic, and we are going to be reviewing results at that conference. So it's pretty exciting, but that's a great example where, if you just think a plan reviewer or someone who is working in the building inspection department, like permit inspections at a jurisdiction, if you have a tool like this that you can submit the designs, and it can show you where it fails and where it succeeds in terms of code compliance, that will really speed up the process. So we're pretty excited about this pilot.
Yeah, that's great. And when it comes to decision making, right, and the processes related to decision making when it comes to building codes and standards, how do you think AI can impact that? Do you think it could help decision making in any way, just given the fact that it can analyze these large data sets?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. I think it's still early days for that. We have the way our codes are our code books, our model codes are updated. As I mentioned, it's a 3-year cycle. And so we have hearings basically where individuals, organizations can propose their code changes, right? It goes through a committee, a voting committee. That's what's happening at our annual conference. And, that it gets voted on, and then the outcome of that vote determines whether or not that code change goes forward. And so it is a process that is technology enabled already, because we have a platform the name of it is called CDP Access, and it's really code development access. And so all the code proposals are submitted through this particular platform. I could envision a time where AI is applied to that, again, to speed up the review process, to very quickly identify where the changes are being proposed, and so forth. And so, again, we're early days in that. We don't have AI currently, but that's certainly on the roadmap. I talked about that AI knowledge map. So we kind of did a brainstorming. I love to think about the blank canvas, right? In terms of how would you create a roadmap, over the next 3 years? And that's what we're doing with this AI knowledge map. And that's a particular use case that I think will definitely be in the future.
And how do you see AI supporting sort of streamlining processes? There's so many different components when it comes to codes, right? Whether that's the permits, the code checks, the compliance reporting. How do you see AI playing a role in streamlining some of the processes of so many different components of what needs to be done?
Yeah. So I think when you talk about processes around AI, it's a combination of things, right? Because every organization has a process, workflow, in terms of just how to move, things forward. And so whether you want to call it the back end of the operation or support operation, it's at the enterprise kind of infrastructure level. There will be, across any organization, AI is going to be applied, and tools that are going to be used just in general workflow. We're already seeing that. But then there's the specifics around what you talked about in terms of code compliance and the plan reviews, the specific use cases around, solving pain points really for processes that are very manual. And so I think you have to kind of put those in two different categories. And, it really depends about, I think in my experience, at least, the organizations that move faster really are from the top down. The top down says, this is important. We are about change. We are going to embrace change. That's going to be part of our vision and our mission. And it's those organizations that are going to be the leaders. And, we've had that, at the International Code Council. That was one of the main drivers for me joining the organization. I really felt that at the top of the leadership, at the executive leadership level, and that we want to be part of leading that change. And so AI is a natural fit. It's amazing how fast, though, AI has moved through. If you think about it, compared to some other technologies, we like to talk about the Internet of Things. That was a longer journey, right? With AI, it's come on so fast, and now it's every conference I go to now, AI is full of the agenda is full of AI topics across the board. And so it's really hitting hard. I think it's bigger than anything we've seen in the last 20, 25 years, and it's very early days. So, that alone tells you that we are in for a whole lot of change ahead. But again, I'm of the belief, and our organization of the belief is to embrace it, but to do it smartly, do it thoughtfully, do it in a smart way, that you're not just doing AI and applying AI tools for the sake of it, that it's actually driving outcomes. It's driving successful outcomes.
Yeah. So within ICC, what is it that you're doing to help upskill the employees to become more, knowledgeable in AI, specifically when it comes to, your codes and standards and the regulatory knowledge that's needed?
Yeah.
What are those skills?
Yeah. So first thing is, like I said, we're embracing CodePilot throughout the organization, and we've put together best practices. Our IT department has led that, best practices around using CodePilot and AI tools. And so that's already started. Again, making sure that people are reading, relevant information, getting the support and onboarding material, and so forth. So I think that's kind of step number one. Get comfortable with it, but understand it. Learn, how to ask questions and learn how to navigate the tool. From there, we're building out really an enterprise-wide strategy, and we're kind of managing it through this committee that I talked about. And so we have representatives from the various business units. We have, it's led by our head of software engineering. It's some of the attending members are from HR, from legal, across the organization, so that everybody has input into how we set up this framework. And I think HR will play a key component there, because HR, as you know, in many organizations does leads the learning for the organization. So we are looking at a number of solutions that can be rolled out across the organization.
Yeah. And how do you envision the role of the knowledge officer, the chief knowledge officer, or the people who are in charge of learning, sort of evolving as AI plays a greater role in knowledge management, in learning, and data analysis?
Yeah. So again, my role was created. It was a new role when I joined, and it was created again to create a strategy and kind of an implementation plan across the organization, so that we didn't just have pockets within the organization dabbling in various projects. And so my role was formed, and I've built out a team, with product management capabilities that we are now leveraging across the organization. And so what we've really embraced is a culture of heavily supported by data analytics. In terms of anything we build out, we're proving out through data, through customer facing engagement. And so we know when we go to market with a particular product or service that we feel that we have a very good chance of being successful, because we know this is what the customer is looking for. And so that was a big part of my role being created, and to build out that capability. And so that particular team, and then again, working very closely with our software engineering team, is working to build out these platforms and these capabilities using AI. And, could we have done it the same way we're doing now a few years ago? Probably not, because we needed to build out the team. So, what the learnings that I can share is that you have to have the skilled individuals who can do this. Product management is absolutely essential. Because you have to test, you have to make sure what you are developing is suited for the particular needs of the customer, and that it's being brought to market in a very tested environment. Again, using those analytics. And so I felt, actually, when we were starting to, back in that February of 23, when we launched that Skunkworks group, I felt very good about the team we had, because we had product managers that could dive right in, to the tools available. And that's when we landed on ChatGPT as the tool that we decided to use for our beta product.
Yeah, we're seeing how AI is really shaping the way we all work today. Any final thoughts, Joan?
That's great. No, I've really enjoyed it. And again, my final thoughts, I guess I would say, is we're early in the journey. Embrace change, because this is just the beginning, and experiment with the different tools out there, because there's a lot to learn. And again, the smarter you are at using the tool, the better results you're going to get.
Very insightful, Joan. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Zarder TV.